We're definitely at a place in history where people are looking for value. I don't mean cheap or low quality. What I'm talking about is something that delivers big at a reasonable price point. Now based off the RMAX 1000 engine, this Wolverine is a totally new beast and is designed around delivering maximum usability, maximum fun, and at a cost that's pretty shocking in an industry that seems to be creeping higher and higher MSRP price tags onto nearly everything that we look at. Yamaha is reevaluating and offering far more for less. Pat Biolsi, Yamaha's ATV and side-by-side testing manager, will help us understand this further.
The Wolverine platform has been exceptionally successful because it delivered the 3 C's: comfort, capability, and confidence, and that's what it continues to do to this day.
Now for me, I wanted to know what the big differences were between the RMAX and the new Wolverine X2 1000, because when it comes to comparisons, this is what everyone is asking.
The differences between the RMAX and the Wolverine X2 1000, let's start with the engine. The engine is exactly the same. There is no difference between the two vehicles whatsoever. The clutch setting is a little different, 20 gram weight from the RMAX 4. That's the only difference between the RMAX 2 and the Wolverine X2 1000. When it comes to the suspension, there's a lot of different things that we're doing with the suspension, but really trying to achieve a lot of similar goals and targets, but doing it for a different customer. The customer that's looking for the X2 1000 is really driving in a lot different terrain, tight East Coast woods trails, for example. There's different characteristics we're getting from a styling standpoint. It's a lot more compact body. The visibility is exceptional in the X2 1000. The RMAX has a much different style. It's a little bit broader shouldered, a little bit taller, so you don't have quite the same level of visibility in the RMAX as you do as the X2 1000. But from a suspension standpoint, the X2 1000 has a huge amount of travel for its 61-inch track width, which is really exceptional. SAC ZF shocks versus the Fox QS3 and Fox IQS system on the RMAX. That's a key difference, but we're really looking to achieve a lot of the similar targets of exceptional low-speed comfort, small rocks, tree roots, stutter bumps that we get on the East Coast, trail whoops, mountain trail whoops that we get in the Western US, decomposed granite really whoops out. So providing a high level of performance in the Western US and the Eastern US is really challenging. So having that much suspension really helps us do that. The travel is really important.
And the suspension travel numbers on the X2 are actually really impressive. It's 13.3 inches up front and it's 15.6 inches out back. You gotta remember, that's only like 1 inch lower than the RMAX. This is really impressive. The other thing that's impressive is while the RMAX has Fox shocks, this one has Sachs piggybacks. Sachs makes a great shock. I've always loved them. And this one is a piggyback with full adjustability, but then it also has a threaded spring preload collar, so you can really tune this vehicle to ride exactly the way that you want.
One key difference is wheels and tires. Both trying to deliver an exceptional amount of sidewall durability, comfort, damping character from our tire, but we're matched to different concepts. You know, with the RMAX 2, we've got the Maxxis Carnivore, and we also have the GBC Dirt Commander 2.0. Great tires, 30-inch square setup. We've got a 28-inch square setup on the Wolverine X2 1000, which again gives you that convenience of having a square setup, being non-directional, the convenience of carrying a spare that's the same size, all 4 corners. That's really easy to deal with and really something customers are looking for. High ply ratings, 8 ply and 6 ply are really something that customers tell us they look for. I know it's just a number, but on the trail, having the right amount of sidewall is really important. When you pinch a tire between a rock or a trail obstacle and the rim, having enough sidewall is just as important sometimes as having a thick sidewall on a tire or a high ply rating. So having a 14-inch wheel is really important with a 28-inch size. So we wanted to make sure we had enough sidewall to pinch between the wheels and tires. Having a Maxxis Bighorn, the OG spec, if you will, it's a thicker tread. It's a larger tread block overall. It provides great traction all over the United States. Here in the East, mud, rocks, slippery rocks, something you don't see as much in the Western US. Again, decomposed granite, sandy trails. The Bighorn provides a great level of traction in a wide variety of conditions. That's the reason we delivered it on the X2 1000.
Now I hope that you're seeing that this new Wolverine is a really formidable vehicle, but it's not just engine and suspension that takes its cues from the RMAX that make it so formidable. The interior is something that needed a look at, and they took a whole lot of style features from the RMAX and threw it into this Wolverine.
We're going to talk about the differences and the similarities on the interior between the RMAX and the X2 1000. Similarities, we've got the same great 6-point adjustable seatbelt. You know, it's a 3-point harness, and it has a 6-position adjustable anchor point with no tools. Really easy and convenient to achieve a nice comfortable level for a wide variety of driver sizes, preferences. and that's on the driver and passenger side. Of course, we have an adjustable handhold on both vehicles, but the adjustment style and the handhold are slightly different between those two. One key thing that's the same is the roominess in the cab. A lot of people, if you had a 2018 through 2020 model X2 or X4, the cab's a little bit different than what we have on the 2021 model and later X2 850 and the X2 1000 and the RMAX. We got the same amount of roominess. Seats about a half-inch back from those early X2s and X4s. The throttle pedal and brake pedal were pushed forward, and the angles were changed to give it more room and make it more comfortable for a wider variety of people that maybe weren't as flexible in their ankles and their feet. Those has a nicer, more relaxed leg angle. The door latch position was changed compared to those early X2s. It's the same as what's on the RMAX. The cab is actually interchangeable, the hard cab enclosure accessory, just to show you that they are the same. It's the same front doors on an RMAX 2 as what's on a X2 1000 when it comes to the dimensions. Getting in and out of the vehicle, ingress and egress, they're the same between an RMAX and an X2 1000. So that's a key similarity, and probably one of the biggest ones that we brought over from the RMAX were the soft touch points on the door skin, and then of course on the center console. Hit you in all the right spots as far as providing you a nice comfortable spot on rough terrain, all day riding. Really exceptional amount of comfort on the X2 1000, same as what's on the RMAX.
And what Pat means by the soft touch points are these cool little rubber inserts that they've put into places inside of the cab where your elbows rest against the door pocket or your knee rests against the center console. They did this in the RMAX. Luke and I both loved it. Anybody who's ridden one thinks it's the best thing ever. They're the only people in the industry doing it, and I'm so glad to see that they're putting this onto more of their vehicles. I hope in the future it's on everything, because this is really important when you're out for a long day's ride. It just makes it so much nicer.
One more key difference, of course, is the vehicle size. You know, a 64-inch track width on the RMAX, 61-inch on the Wolverine X2 1000. The wheelbase is a little shorter, and overall, the vehicle is a slightly smaller overall size. It's really maneuverable. Again, focused on a different concept from a customer standpoint, what they're looking for, a little bit smaller, more compact vehicle overall.
And Pat hits on one of the standout features here of the X2, the fact that it is a slightly smaller vehicle than the RMAX, and that's not a bad thing. It really makes it more versatile on the East Coast trails, tighter trails, and areas where you want to have better sight lines of the trails, maybe even for newer riders. I really appreciate the smaller stature of this vehicle, and don't get me wrong, it's not all that much smaller, but it's enough that you get better sight lines from behind the steering wheel.
One of the most important things that didn't change is Ultramatic, On Command, and of course, our EPS system. We feel like the 10-year belt warranty, again, it's so important to our RMAX customers, and all of our Wolverine customers really value that level of CVT durability, and that has not changed between the X2 1000 and the RMAX. The On Command system, again, functions the exact same way, again, providing that really consistent, predictable sense of traction you get from the front end, whether you want four-wheel drive limited slip, two-wheel drive, or a true front differential lock, which again is what our customers tell us they want. That hasn't changed at all between the X2 1000 customer and the RMAX customers. Are still looking for that. And of course, that balance for our EPS system, our electric power steering system. Most important thing is that balance of positive and negative feedback. We delivered that with the X2 1000, even though it has a different chassis, different steering rack, different tie rods. The same focus on balance between positive and negative feedback was there.
The real hallmarks of Yamaha off-road vehicles. You could say that the DNA of Yamaha stays true on this new Wolverine. And that's something that's going to continue to deliver after you purchase it from the dealer showroom. When you take it home, these are the things that are going to be standouts for you going down the road. This is a true Yamaha product, and it's going to deliver the way you expect a Yamaha to do so.
When we were developing the Wolverine X2 1000, we worked with our product planning team to understand the target customer. What is this customer looking for that's not looking for an RMAX? Besides, of course, the price and the value that you're getting with the Wolverine X2 1000. And we really work with our product planning team to understand what those benefits are that they're going to feel on the trail and apply that to our development process. Again, we focused on suspension comfort, suspension travel. What does that give you? Gives you contact to ground feeling, gives you performance at higher speeds. Of course, engine power, but not just a ton of engine power. We want to make sure it's very manageable, making sure the response is just right in a wide variety of conditions. That's something this Wolverine X2 1000 customer is looking for. A lot of power, but of course delivered in a certain way that covers a great variety of terrain all over the United States. Again, the suspension is capable all over the United States with all that travel, with all the adjustability, with the piggyback reservoirs. That really is what they're looking for, and that's what you get on the trail. great comfort in the cab, getting in and out of the vehicle. Same great level as the RMAX. We put a couple of key features in there, like the touch points on the door skin and on the center console. Make it very roomy, make it very comfortable, but at a different level than the RMAX. This customer valued those things slightly differently. There's a lot of great accessories available for the Wolverine X2 1000. Make sure you go to YamahaMotorsports.com to figure out what fits your X2 1000. There is a great crossover between the RMAX and the X2 850. But one of the keys from our perspective, from the testing department, is we test our accessories just like we do the unit. We put these vehicles through all the same durability tests. We focus on driving on real trails for extended periods of time and using them like the customer is going to use them. That's something that I think a lot of other accessories out there can't say, and it's something we spend a lot of time and effort on, and we're very proud of, and make sure our accessories meet people or even exceed their expectations when it comes to durability, just like the unit.
Now, if you want more information on the all-new X2 1000 Yamaha Wolverine, make sure you stop by your local dealership so you can see one in person. And I know you're not going to be disappointed when you do that.